Hey guys, ebomey here. I know in one of my last videos I had made the comment that I wasn't going to do a in-depth cleaning and disassembly of the Mosin Nagant, but I've had actually quite a few people ask me about it, and today one of my good friends, 23 Mr. Cowboys, I guess picked up a Mosin and asked me if I could give him a hand on getting it taken apart and cleaned for the first time. And so I'm doing this this video for 23 Mr. Cowboys, just as kind of a how-to. But I also want to take this opportunity to thank another one of my good friends here on YouTube, Mr. AK-47 Master. I made a comment that my stuff, my gun, neither of the guns came with the cleaning kit, and Mr. AK-47 Master dropped this in the mail for me. It has the obviously the pouch and the little oiler can and the Mosin screwdriver, and tell you the truth, I still have to play around with it to figure out what all of this stuff does. I know you've got the rod on the gun, and you use it for you know, pushing your cleaner and stuff down through there. So thanks so much there, Mr. AK-47 Master. That was awesome. So that's this. And one more quick thing before we get into the disassembly. Yesterday in the mail, I got my holster from Howard from the bunker. This holster is will work with either the Beretta 92 or similar sized Berettas, or the 1911. So let's that's a kick-ass holster. It's got all the different options for your regular belt, utility belt. US even has a built-in, comes with a cleaning rod, which I thought was pretty cool too. In case you're wondering, I got Howard donated the holster, and he also donated a foregrip, the AB arms. AB arms for AR, carbine AR. Howard, I don't understand why you couldn't have sent what this attaches to, though. That's what I would really like. In case you guys missed Howard's video, I'll put a link on this one so you can go over and check it out. But Howard donated the AB Arms tactical foregrip and the holster for what is going to be my upcoming 1,000 subscriber contest. So I'm gonna have to figure out some way to get the contest set up. So, because there's gonna be some of you that are gonna want this AB Arms grip, and there's gonna be guys that are gonna have absolutely no use for the AB Arms grip. So I'll have to figure out a way we can set it up. So if you want, if you don't care if you win either, or if you just want the grip. So, okay, for Mr. 20 23 Cowboys, or sorry, 23 Mr. Cowboys, the Mosin. Start with, and of course, haha, because it's me. Obviously the gun needs to be empty. It's the one time we don't mess around. And if you pull the trigger and pull back on your bolt, you can get that out of there. We'll start with the disassembly of the bolt. When you're holding it like this, you want to give it a twist, like as though you're gonna fire it, and then you can start pulling the pieces out. Got the front lug. Got the bar. And now you're going to be down to the main body, the firing pin. And what you want to do is find something that you can press down on. And don't worry, you're not going to hurt the firing pin, but I kind of like do this, press down and get the pressure off. And now you can just unscrew the end. I'm assuming that everybody should have relatively about the same experience. Both of these came apart very nicely. And now once that's been unscrewed from the end, you'll get your firing pin and the spring. And this is sort of just a mock setup for you, buddy. Because mine has already been cleaned a whole bunch of times. I took a tin like this, and I basically, me personally, I know everyone's got different things they can use. I just went and bought a inexpensive carb cleaner, and I completely had them soaking in that. So, well, all this is soaking in a degreaser or a carb cleaner. Then you can move on to the gun. Next thing you want to make sure you do is remove the cleaning rod. Now that you have the cleaning rod removed, you can see these guys, and I picked my round receiver to do this with, because the hex is really a pain in the ass. It's very, very tight, but just press in on that. And if you experience anything like I did with the hex receiver one, you're actually going to have to get some kind of a tool, and I used something made out of plastic or coated so I didn't scratch those up. Same with the one here in the back. Of course, this one is, there you go. And just slide the rings forward. As soon as you do that, you'll be able to take this top piece of wood off, and I would say be fairly careful with that. It is a very thin piece. Now you have it down to that. If you have a straight blade screwdriver, or you have your Mosin kit, there's going to be a screw right there. I'm going to remove that one, and a screw right there on the magazine. And like any work like this, to make sure that you don't do any damage, make sure that you're using basically the largest screwdriver blade that you need to have it fit snugly, so you don't have to worry about it coming off. They are different sizes. So when you go to put them back together, you won't be able to interchange them. The shorter one is for the mag, and the longer one goes in the back. Now that you've done that, you can pull the magazine assembly out of the bottom of the gun. To take this apart even farther, you pull back. Make sure you got a good angle on that. If you pull back at spring-loaded towards the trigger guard, pull it back towards the trigger guard, and lift up at the same time, you'll get it dangling like that. Now to remove that, simply squeeze it together, and it'll pop right out of there. You can see how that opens and closes like a crab's claw. So now you got those. Those would go into my soaking pan. Now at this point, you'll be able to make sure those rings are up and out of the way, and you can lift the barrel up and out. Now, people doing this for the first time, be very careful about this. See that small pin right there on the trigger? A lot of them are extremely, of course now that I actually want it to fall out, it won't fall out. I could get something and push it through there, but I'm not going to waste my time. Be careful on that little steel pin on both of these Mosins. If you're not paying attention, that pin right there will fall out, and then you're going to have some loss of trigger control. So there you go. We've got it to this point. For me, for the steel, everyone's got their own techniques, whatever, you know. Find, just because it was inexpensive and I liked the way it worked, I cleaned all of the metal. I soaked it and carb cleaner and wiped everything off very well. Got it, I guess I got it about as clean as I could with the carb cleaner. And then once I was no longer getting the orange on the rags from the Cosmoline, I switched over to cleaning it more of a traditional way that you would. After everything's soaked in the carb cleaner, I plugged off the barrel, and I used a bore scrubber. I mean, you can pretty much use whatever brand that you want. As far as plugging the barrel goes, you get like a rubber stopper, or I actually used a Bic pen, and then I just filled the bore up with this, kind of rotated it around a little while, and let it soak for 20-30 minutes, and then I switched after that. Then I switched to I like the break-free product. I know there's other stuff on the market, but I then switched to cleaning it with this, with your traditional bore brush. I recently picked up the bore snake. You're gonna want 308. The 7.62 by 5.4 and the 308 are almost identical. So anything that you would clean the 308 with. I also picked up one of the packages like this just so I had stuff on hand. But yeah, once you do that, then pretty much treat it like you normally clean. The only thing that I experienced, and I suppose if I actually would just use the kit that came with it, now I can. Thank you, Mr. AK-47 Master. I was not able with my cleaning kit to go in from the chamber end, which is what you should, because my rod wasn't long enough. Haha, chuckle. So I had to go in the barrel end. So I got that all cleaned up, and then I moved on to cleaning up the wood. There's a few things that you can definitely do that can help you. One of them is if you're like now, summertime, you got a nice warm day, set it in the sun and keep wiping it down. The heat will sweat the cosmoline out of it. Personally, I used a mixture of white vinegar and water, and I wiped it all down until I no longer had any cosmoline on the rag. And then after that, just treating it with some kind of like a Murphy's oil for wood, something like that, just to keep it preserved. You know, just so that you are aware. Oh, hang on. Thank you.
Sorry.
Just so that you're aware. Like with mine, I did experience a couple of with the bullet hanging up in the chamber the first time that I was out, and I didn't have it happen to me on the second time. So that cosmoline just gets in everything. So you may have to have that cleaned a couple of times to accommodate that. Then as far as putting it back together, it's just pretty much a reverse of how you take it apart. Once again, make sure that that pin is back here in the firing pin and you haven't lost it. Set that down in there. You got your smaller, oops, skipping a step here. Okay, we got this all cleaned. You'd pinch it, and just set it right in there and let go of it. Push back together. Small bolt on the magazine. You don't have to get super crazy on tightening these. Just snug them up. Set the wooden down. Now watch this. While you have these out, it is possible for the front ring, which is the smaller one, to pass through the larger one. That didn't happen in this case. I also have where the banding material is, where they're assembled. I always put that down till it clicks. Till it clicks. Now the bolt. You want to put the spring over it. Same reversing it. And of course, when it comes to cleaning this, I did the same thing. I soaked it in carb cleaner. I wiped everything all down, and then I cleaned it with the traditional gun products, and then lightly oiled everything. But it'd be the same thing. I just kind of hold it like you're holding a gun. Make sure that can go all the way in there. And when you want to make sure that when you slide that back on, it is an oval and it's designed to match that, and you want it to slide into those back lugs. And there you go. Do that again there for you. And like I said, I lightly oiled it all as I was assembling the parts. If some of you experience any problems at all, you can sort of see where things might be wearing or sliding if you experience a bolt that's actually kind of tight. Wheelwood 487 has a good video on this. You know, take something like your Dremel or a Rotozip tool and some polishing compound, and just hit some of these areas that run on the inside of the gun. This one feels and works great, so that wasn't something that I was worried about. And pull the trigger, slide that back in. You know, make sure everything's good. Put the cleaning rod back in. And there you go, an abbreviated version of the cleaning. And of course, if you have any questions, 23 Mr. Cowboys, text me or whatever, or just give me a call when you're putting it back together. But and you out there that are on the fence about getting a Mosin for $80 to $130, it's going to be the most fun that you've ever spent. And if you're out there and find one with the hex receiver for the same money, do it. Oh, I suppose just in case I should go over this. Back up a second. Take your bolt out, and in what would be the equivalent to the fired position, relaxed like that, you'll see the firing pin sticking out there. One of the things, if you have it, which I didn't up until Mr. AK-47 Master provided it, you have two options, or maybe you don't have any options at all. This tool, these three notches, that one, and that one, the outer two are what ride over the top of your bolt, and then the center one is the gauge for your firing pin depth. And if my camera will play along here, you can see that it just misses the top of it, which means that you're set just right. On the other hand, you may have been, what happened with mine, this was actually taped to the outside of the box. I'm actually using it to mark my cleaning tool for my 10mm, but that does the same thing. It'll just miss, so you get that, so you got your depth right. And a lot of them, like both of these, will have come from like Century Arms or whatever, marked, so that you can see, so you get an idea every time that you have it in the right spot. But if you want to double check, use one of those tools, either the original tool, or if you happen to be like mine and it came with one of these. The hex receiver one, on the other hand, did not come with either. So, but you want to get that depth right. If you get that, if you don't get that firing pin set right, you're gonna have one of two things happen. You're gonna have a misfire or no fire because it's not striking the primer right, or it's gonna actually pierce the primer and you're actually gonna get some blowback through the back of the gun, and you don't want that either. So there you go. That is a disassembly and reassembly of the Mosin Nagant, and a quick how-to on how I cleaned it anyway. I would expect that for the first time or two, it's probably going to be a little pissy with you out on the range, as that cosmoline sweats out of there. You know, one of the things you want to do is make sure where the bullet travels, the shell casing seats, that you make sure you get that good and clean, where you will get it'll be locked up on you and you won't be able to get that thing open, and you're literally going to have to just do, you know, one of those to get that thing out of there. And like I said, I experienced that the first time out, and I haven't had it happen since then. So there you go. I hope that helps somebody. So that's once again, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. AK-47 Master for that, and a thanks again for the donations for my 1,000 subscriber contest when we get there, from Howard from the Bunker. So you guys have a good day. Ebomey out.